Hey everybody, Victoria here with Sobriety Lunchbox. Welcome back to another episode of Live Lunch. My name is Victoria Drummond and I am a certified holistic nutrition coach and also a recovering alcoholic. Today we're covering a little bit more information as to why your energy sucks in recovery. It is honestly one of the biggest complaints I hear about from people in recovery, whether it's they've been in sobriety for 6 days or 6 years or however long it's been. It's just a super common struggle, and there's a major reason for that. So last time we talked about this, we talked about the fact that your body is in shock and also that you're likely very dehydrated. Today, what we're going to talk about is the fact that your body is literally starving. And I don't mean hungry as in lacking calories or not getting enough food. I mean your body is lacking nutrients needed to function properly and get you feeling your best. When you are in active addiction, the chances are you're not eating healthy foods. You're skipping out on healthy foods. You're finding things that are cheap, easy to digest, something that's quick access if you're eating it all. So there's not only that aspect of it, of not even getting those good quality foods, but the other piece is using drugs and alcohol literally zaps the nutrients from your body. They disrupt the process of how your body digests food, how it breaks down these nutrients and utilizes them. So you really have this kind of double whammy effect of what's called malnutrition. So it doesn't even matter how many calories you eat. If you're not eating quality foods and you're not breaking the foods that you do eat properly, your body's not getting what it needs out of it, despite the fact that you might actually be getting more than enough calories in your day. It's kind of like running a car on an empty tank. It just doesn't actually work. When you got into recovery, did you switch automatically to drinking kale smoothies every morning, making home-cooked meals that are packed with vegetables every single day? Probably not. And even if you did, it would take a really long time and a really perfect diet to actually start replenishing what your body needs and to help fixing some of the damage that has been done. Now, maybe if you were in active addiction for a short period of time, maybe the damage isn't quite as bad as it would be for someone who is in active addiction for, 20 or 30 years. But the process is still the same. Plus, addiction gives us a lot of digestive issues, as I mentioned, which makes this even harder to overcome this, the problem with getting the nutrients out of our food. So when you got home from rehab or your meetings or wherever it was, the day that you decided to kind of turn things around, you probably settled into a diet that's high in refined carbohydrates. Now, there's two reasons that this is impacting your energy that we're going to talk about right now. First, refined carbohydrates. So those are things like sugars. Sugars are refined carbohydrates, breads, pastas, things like that. Things that are cheap, again, easy to digest. So the first problem with this is it throws off your blood sugar, which creates cravings and creates mood swings. And they're also lacking in nutrients. So refined sugar is actually an anti-nutrient. So kind of like drugs and alcohol that disrupt the process for breaking down food, sugar actually steals nutrients from our body and uses it for other things. So we're actually going to talk a lot more about sugar in the body on Thursday. So make sure you check out that show, noon on Thursday. So what is a sober warrior to do in recovery to actually start feeling good when it comes to the starvation of cells? So the first thing, start using food as fuel. Try to avoid using it as a comfort blanket for dealing with emotions or anxiety or even boredom. Pay attention to how you feel when you eat certain foods and ask yourself if this food is really serving you. As a human, I have this issue quite often myself. Sometimes I get so overwhelmed by certain things in life that the only thing I can manage to do is shove a piece of chocolate in my mouth. The key thing is being aware. So yes, I know in those moments that I am satisfying an emotional need. The next thing that I need to do is figure out what that problem is so I don't keep doing it. Okay, that's the big thing about awareness. The other piece is when we're eating because we're stressed, it comes down to the same thing. Our body isn't going to digest food properly. It's going to take the sugar, it's going to take the calories, it's going to take all the kind of the bad things, but all the nutrients and all the pieces that are good in it are just going to go flushed out through the system, or they're going to get bogged down and create all kinds of problems. So here's a couple simple steps to get you started right away at kind of turning things around. Replace one processed meal a day with something made of whole foods. So if you eat out 3 times a day, change one meal a day, okay? Preferably, your first meal of the day is going to be made from whole foods. The first meal it really sets the tone for the day. So whether you're a breakfast eater or you don't eat till lunch, whichever works better for you, always make sure that the first meal is how you want the rest of the day to go, because it's really going to set things up for you and set you up for success. So one of my favorites, so you really want, sorry, I should backtrack here. You want to start with proteins, fats, and complex carbohydrates, if any carbohydrates at all. Some of my favorites include eggs with avocado and like a multigrain toast. Turkey patties with sauteed veggies and maybe a little bit of mayo on the side. Or even a protein shake, a good quality protein shake, not one that's packed with sugar, blended with spinach and nut butter. You'd be amazed how easy it is to get way more veggies in your diet when you add spinach to a smoothie. You really actually can't taste the spinach, and it adds up very, very quickly. All of these things are really loaded with nutrients. They're going to help keep you full and prevent your blood sugar from bouncing all over the place, the wave that we talked about the other day. And as I said, it really sets the tone for the day. So it's so important to get that first meal in properly. If you're a coffee drinker, try not to drink coffee until after you've eaten or while you're eating that first meal of the day. And that will also have a huge impact on how your blood sugar is for the rest of the day. One other big suggestion that I have is to take a really good quality multivitamin, supplement. And by good quality, I don't mean the crap that you buy in Walmart or your local pharmacy. None of that stuff is worth what you're spending. Yes, it seems affordable, but a lot of those supplements are filled with garbage. Some of them are filled with can be filled with sawdust. Some of them are filled with mold. Some of them are just, because of packaging and processing, are so damaged that you're actually not getting what it states in the bottle. And in some cases, you're actually getting more than what it says in the bottle, which can actually be quite dangerous. So go to a local health food store, order something online, or find even someone who's a rep for a multi-level marketing company that you trust and believe in, that's very reputable. And you're going to find a really good quality supplement there. Personally, I take USANA Self-Essentials, and I have been on them for a number of years, and I notice a huge difference in my energy when I take them. I know it can be a little bit expensive adding supplements. It's not that expensive, but it can be a little bit more costly than what it would be if you were to buy, the one-a-day crap from, like I said, from Walmart. But consider it an investment in your health. When your body's so depleted in these nutrients, you need something really good quality to start fixing it fast. You don't even have to take them forever. Plan on it for 6 months or a year and see the difference in how you feel. It's amazing what the body can do when you start filling in those gaps and it starts to function properly and starts to flow and do all the things that it's supposed to do. It's kind of like a little miracle thing. Now, that being said, some people are advised to take specific vitamins, like a B12, for example. Never ever take a supplement on its own like a B12 unless you're taking a good baseline multivitamin. And the reason for that is a lot of vitamins need to work together, kind of in conjunction with each other. So if you're taking a B12 and you're deficient in B3, that B12 is not going to work properly. So you really want to make sure that you're getting what you can out of it. Always start with a good baseline, add individual supplements on top of that if you really need to. So that's really it. Those are my 2 big tips, is replacing one meal a day from refined foods to whole foods, and then adding a good quality multivitamin. Super, super important. If you found these tips helpful, then definitely leave me comments below, share this video with your friends or in any of your recovery groups. I'm happy to chat a little bit more. If you have questions, leave me a message. Don't forget to join our private Facebook group where the conversation happens. Sign up for the mailing list on the website, sobrietylunchbox.com. And see you next time on Thursday when we're going to talk a little bit more about sugar in recovery, why it's a problem, and how to get over it. We'll see you then. Bye.